The key to moving on from the mindset and really doing things and spending on purpose and watching where you spend your money is amplified with the budget. And I'm going to explain how I do a budget. The idea with the budget is to track every single expense. And if you've never done it before, there's many ways you can do it. It depends on the type of person that you are. In other words, if you're, techie and you like spreadsheets and everything, you can create an Excel file, if you will, or some kind of a spreadsheet model where you track everything. You can use old-fashioned pen and paper. But for me, in this day and age, with technology and the fact that we're using a debit or credit card for pretty much everything. So I actually use an app called Mint.com. So before you go downloading it and using Mint.com, let me explain a little bit about it, and then you guys can go from there and determine which way is best for you. But the idea is to track every single expense, and you might want to just do that with if you're going to use the paper and pen, you might want to just do that literally like starting from yesterday. Go through your entire day, write down exactly what you spent your money on, and you may want to change or not change, but just recognizing and writing down every single place that you are spending money. People typically over a month period of time or 2 or 3 months have this aha moment of, I can't believe that I spend that much money on that. And everybody has a that. And if you look at integrity, not in a moral way, but integrity, like a boat that's floating on the water is in full integrity. But if there's a hole in the boat, it's out of integrity. If you don't fill the hole, you're gonna sink the boat, right? So when you look at a budget and how you're spending money, you just wanna look for the holes. It's not an integrity moral thing, it's just, holy cow, now that I'm paying attention, I'm noticing and seeing that I'm, wasting money in this area that didn't feel like I was wasting money in that area, okay? Does that make sense? So what I love about Mint and why I use Mint.com is because the first time that you use it, I recommend going out to the computer first, but the first time you use it, what you do, by the way, I've been using it for over a decade, no security issues. It's very, 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 very high security. The company Intuit actually owns Mint.com, which is the same company that's Quicken and TurboTax and all that kind of stuff. So highly secure. But what I love about Mint is it's free, number one. The first time that you plug in your bank information, and you can put your check basically your bank. Let's say like I bank at Chase, so I do my username and password to Chase, and then everything that I have at Chase is literally downloaded, every transaction. So that's checking, savings, any credit cards. You can put investments on there, you can put auto loans on there, you can put every single place where you're spending money. You can plug in that username and password for where your loan is or any of your expenses, and it'll all be there. Okay, but here's the thing. The first time you do it, it literally downloads 90 days, the past 90 days of transactions. And literally 95% of the time, people are just freaked out. I had one young couple do this, and they were spending almost $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month between Starbucks and getting Red Bulls at the gas station. $1,000 a month. When they discovered that, just from simply downloading Mint and having it, categorize all their transactions, they literally were just like blown away. They stopped the spending and they had $1,000 extra. They made their coffee at home for like 10 cents, right? So it's very powerful when you are tracking and understanding where your money is going. You will not then wonder at the end of the month where it all went. Okay, so that's the concept of tracking everything and why, the why. Ultimately, it'll set you free. So what I mean by that is if you set a budget for, let's just say a category, restaurants or going out, let's just say eating out, and you download Mint for the first time and you say, oh my gosh, I spend, $800 a month average eating out. No way. How? It's, you know what? It's $15 here, it's $12 here, it's $50 here, it's $100 dinner there, and it adds up like that. So what you can do then is say, okay, hey, wait a minute, let's throttle that down a little bit, let's create a budget around it. And you can do that on Mint and literally create a budget for every single place that you spend money. So let's say you have a restaurant budget and you can throttle it down to, let's say, half. Okay, so our restaurant budget is $400 this month, okay? What Mint does is it goes green as you're spending through the month and categorizing that transaction in restaurants. It'll go green, it'll show you visually, yellow, and then red if you go over. So you always know where you're at. And there's an app, so you can instantly look, hey, you know what, should we go out to dinner tonight or wait until next week? Because, it's the 5th of the month and we're halfway through our budget. And you have conversations about it, and it just literally starts to set you free because you're gonna be saving $400. But now when you go out, it's more of a, it means more, if you will. So it actually enhances your experience. It's an interesting way to look at things. But when you start to do it, there's going to be about there's usually a 3 to 6 month window of trying to figure it all out. But Mint will help you categorize transactions, and have you understand where you're spending your money, and more importantly, where that hole is in your boat, so you can fix it, patch it, and keep integrity in your budget. All right. So the other thing with a budget is what people always miss. I'll ask people, hey, put a budget together before we actually talk. We're going to talk in 2 days. Just put a budget or tell me all the areas that you spend your money. And invariably, I would say 100% of the time, it's not the real number, because they tell me how much they make and they tell me they're spending, and it's cool. But the problem is they're in debt because they're using credit cards to cover the gap. So when we dissect it and deep dive into their actual spending, there's a gap between what they're spending and what they're making. And that's where usually it goes onto a credit card or something like that. And then pretty soon, 3 years later, you're $10,000 in debt. But it comes slowly. So here's how we're going to stop that and have power around your money, your peace of mind around it, and that's the budget. What people miss the most are non-monthly expenses. That's the biggest thing that I see from people, and that's the biggest thing that I didn't realize was there were expenses that were pretty big that weren't every month, so I was never prepared for them. I was like, no, I can't believe I don't have the money. And I'm going to tell you a funny story, and it was around Diana. So how it looks like this is Diana, if you ever see, Diana, she's got tons of hair and it's super thick, right? So when she goes to get the works, I call it the works, when she gets the works done, it's not cheap, man. Back in the day when we were doing this, it was like $300 to get her hair done. I'm talking, I don't even know what it's called, right? But you got highlights, lowlights, full color, this color, that. I got to do the Brazilian this. I don't even know what it is. Haircut, this treatment, that. Anyway, it was the works, and it was $300. But it would not be like every month, right? So I started to figure out, holy cow, this is about every 3 months. So every 3 months, we would have this big stressful time, a $300 unexpected expense, and we'd get into an argument, and she's like, I have to get my hair cut. I'm like, no, we don't have the money, and how, da-da-da-da. She's like, well, what do you want me to do? I have to cut my hair. I'm like, oh yeah, but maybe you can just do the low light. Like, it was this whole thing, right? So where people miss is the non-monthly expenses. So here's what you do, ready? All you do is you get an envelope, like a literal envelope, or like an accordion style, like coupon thing you can get at I don't know, the dollar store, and it keeps track of, like 10 to 12 different, categories or slots, and then you create an envelope for each of those categories: hair, oil change, if your homeowner association is every 2 months or 3 months, whatever it is that's not a monthly expense, you put an envelope in place. And then what you do is you just back it up, right? So if her hair costs $300 and it's every 3 months, I know, easy math, it's going to be $100 a month. Now at that time I got paid twice a month. So guess what? Every time I got paid, I'd go to the teller and I'd say, okay, I need, this withdrawal, but in these denominations, so that I could, space it out between all my categories, like the vet, for Cha-Cha, that was like a yearly expense, right? So I needed to save, it was like $300 a year divided by 12, divided by 2, and every paycheck I would put in that envelope. So then when I would go to the vet a year later, I just had the cash and paid, and it was done, and it wasn't a big surprise. So check this out. It was great. So I put this in place. 3 months later, every paycheck I'm putting $50 in the hair envelope for Diana. 3 months later, she kind of comes to me. She's like, babe, hey, look, my hair, I gotta get my hair done. I can maybe push it off another couple weeks. I go, hey, no problem. Awesome. Here you go. Here's $300. Have a great time. I know you're gonna look beautiful afterwards. I can't wait to see you. Blah, blah, blah. Boom. She was like, what? So it literally set us free, right? There's no more arguments. I felt good about it. She felt good about it. When she got done from the beauty salon, her hair's flowing. She's looking like a model. It was just amazing, right? So that's the power of taking your non-monthly expenses, putting it into an envelope system, and making sure that you're paying that every time you get paid. This will eliminate any kind of surprises. Now, it does take about a 3 to 6 month window to kind of get this flow going, but you'll recognize right away if you're spending more than you're making, because that's a true budget. So you have to think of all your non-monthly expenses. I told you, like the vet, the doctor, the dentist, if you have to pay for that, things that, it doesn't, it's all about what your expenses are, but you get the idea, right? Hair, anything that's not oil changes, even though it's small, it's only $30 and I have to go every 3 months. Okay, so $5 a paycheck goes into the oil change envelope. Now, what's cool is on Mint, when you take that cash out, and literal cash, and put it into your envelopes, you can make that transaction on your Mint budget, so that okay, I'm on track, I know exactly where my spending is, and so forth. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense to you. If not, just reach out to me. And that's the basis around the budget, all right? Again, it sets you free, and make sure that you have those non-monthly expenses fractioned out into monthly expenses and put into an envelope system. So if you're getting value from this, guys, please share this with your friends, add them to the group. Definitely make sure you're on my social media, your virtual advisor's Instagram, YouTube channel. Subscribe, make sure the little bell is on. I really just, I hope you're taking this on and really having 2019 be your financial year. So I'm committed to you. Be committed to yourself. Love you. We'll talk soon. Bye.